would still feed other people and stuff like that. And it was just kind of like that type of stuff where you felt okay, you felt supported and all that other stuff, and still had, of course, life issues going on. You still see people fussing and cussing, all that kind of good stuff. And like you said, you knew that was okay. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But the camaraderie and the family bond and that type of thing on it, I literally love that. And when you mentioned that your mom, my grandmother used to also work at a hotel. But my mom actually went to school for nursing, but she gave it up. And she said the hours that she would have had to work to build that type of career would mean that she couldn't be there for our plays, she couldn't be there for our trips and stuff like that. So literally, she decided that she would take a lesser of a job type, money-wise, so that she can have the flexibility of the schedule.
Okay. That had to be nice for you guys when you had certain things going on.
Yeah, we did. And at the same time, you just looked at that time, you couldn't really appreciate that she literally had gave up her dream. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I think parents do a lot for their children that's in their power. They may give up their dream to make sure you're good. I've seen people do that. I think it's very commendable. Because it's not, I don't want to say selfish. It's like not a selfish act. Like, okay, well, if I take this pay cut, at least I'll be able to see my kid walk across the stage for graduation or whatever. And people do that. I can't speak from a parent's perspective because I'm never going to be one. So,
not a biological one.
So, yeah, I get it. That's pretty cool. That you take some of those things, like I said, even with you being a mom, taking some of that stuff that you learned from your mom, kind of tweaking it your way, and then applying it to give it to Gabby. You know what I'm saying? That she get ready to take off for her new life. And then it almost make you wonder, now, Gabby, what have you learned over the last 17, 18 years? And how you going to apply this to your life?
Listen,
you know what I'm saying?
Funny you say that, because I used to say that sometimes I would have situations where a lot of people would kind of blame their parents for some things that may not have gone right. And, if my parent had did this, or if my dad had been this and all that other stuff. And one thing I would say, I'm not going to say that didn't influence who you are today. And maybe, again, you might be different. I don't know if you'd be better. One of the things I used to say, well, with my daughter, I think that I've done the best that I knew how at the time, but she may have her own story.
Yeah.
But I know I can look back and it's like, okay, my bad. I did the best I could. And at the point though now, what decisions are you making today to influence outside of your upbringing?
Yeah.
Right? So, because today is what you have to deal with.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I was this, and you say, well, Mom, because I worked a lot too. My daughter was a toddler and stuff like that. I worked a lot. And she made me on stage one day telling somebody, well, my mom worked a lot, and if she hadn't worked a lot, I'm like, okay, so today though.
Well, no, you can't brush off that though. You can't brush that off.
No, not brushing it off, because she still has to go.
That's fine, but you can't say okay today.
I can, in the sense of I still have to feel okay with the decision that I made, because I can't go back, right? So what can I do for you today? I can't turn the dial back.
Okay.
So, but today, so if I'm having a conversation with Gabby, okay, so I acknowledge, okay, I'm sorry that, that is how that influenced your feelings. You know what I'm saying? This is what I thought I was doing the right thing. Okay, now what do you want me to do for you today?
I'm saying though, like, you can't discount that feeling though. Like,
that wasn't a discount.
Okay, as long as you know that.
But at the same time, I have to be secure and know that I did what I knew how to do too.
I get it. Like I said, y'all didn't come with a manual.
And if we did, we probably throw that out the book, because all the people with the Bible manual, right, they threw it right out the window and doing everything, the Quran, the Torah, and all the other books.
Baby, that's a subject right there.
But I'm saying, you got so-called guidelines, and you do everything outside of that.
Yeah. I mean, people gonna do what they want to do when it comes to raising their kids or whomever, right? Long as you're not discounted, they're like, okay, at this point, like you said, at this point in my life, I thought this is the right road to travel. I apologize. That happened.
Right.
What is there anything I can do to fix it today?
Right.
I get it. Okay, as long as you ain't discounting the feeling.
I'm not going to discount the feeling, and I'm also not going to take any blame either. I'm not going to make you feel a certain way about how you're feeling, and you're not going to make me feel a certain way.
Well, I don't think it's about a matter of them making you feel a way. It's letting you know, hey, Mom, you know, I felt this way about this. No fault to you if they have that kind of mindset.
Right, that part. Because it usually goes something like this.
Because normally they're going to blame you.
Yeah. Well, if you hadn't did this, and you hadn't
I wouldn't have turned out this way.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I got it.
Right.
But if you have an intelligent individual you're speaking with,
or mature, not necessarily intelligent,
both,
mature.
They both play a part.
Intellect versus maturity, yeah.
They play a part together.
They do, but you can be very intellectual and very immature.
That too. But one of the same, they play a part, right?
Okay.
So, hey, man, you know, had you been there a little bit more, I wouldn't feel this way.
Okay.
But I know you had to do what you had to do to make sure I was straight. Excuse me. Going forward, this is might be what I need. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Is it okay to come and talk to blah, blah, blah? And, you know, just
go from there.
Yeah. That way, when she get ready to be a mother, she's probably already putting her right. Well, I know that we're in different times now, so she may have to work a lot. But she can put in perspective, hey, when I grew up, this is what happened. So before you get here, what can we do to make sure I don't make that same mistake twice? So yeah, again, if it's just, I think she's gonna be great though. She's gonna be good.
And then if her daughter come back and say, well, if you worked more, I could have had this and had that. Well, hey, so it can go
either way.
So guess
it can go either way. It can go either way. Listen here, it is the top of the hour here, y'all. We almost won in. Well, we won in for the 1 hour. We got 2 more good things to talk about. Again, if you want to chime in on the conversation, if you're just tuning in, thank you for just tuning in. I hope I didn't lose you. But coming up this hour, we're going to talk about forms of discrimination, and we're going to talk about what the hell is trust this hour. So these are some good juicy ones. So if you want to jump in on this one, 213-292-7694 is our number here. You are listening to ATL Talks Radio, and this is Candid Conversations with the G and my CPO, which stands for Chief Perspective Officer, Tabby.
Yes. Top of the hour to you.
Top of the hour to you, my dear. Listen, the good first hour was great.
Absolutely.
Had good information. You know what I'm saying? We're going to jump in the second hour.
Ooh.
And I think it's going to be good. You feel me?
Of course.
So, let's do forms of discrimination first. So I know you know a good thing about this topic, you know. How do you feel about forms of discrimination in our world today?
Where do you start? Because we're always discriminating. Just, I mean...
Let's start anywhere. What your heart desires?
Listen, I'm discriminating as soon as I open my eyes because I'm judging. You know what I'm saying? As you're processing information and trying to take it in to make it make sense to you, right? Then at that point, I'm literally kind of discriminating against, even when I have an interaction with you, and the first thing I might say, well, why do you feel like that? Or why you do that? And all the other stuff. Well, there's a reason why you do it and you feel like you feel. But I think, again, we are evolving to the point where people are respecting the fact that you have a right to be who you are, and it doesn't have to look like how I say it should look, which is, I think, at the heart of discrimination. Discrimination, from my point of view, comes in the sense where you think that everybody should look like you, be like you, think like you, dress like you, and if you are different outside of my definition of fill in the blank, then now I'm putting you in a certain category, I'm handling you a certain way. And I think, again, as we're evolving with a generation that is not only doing away with some of the labels that definitely start with discrimination, they're basically asking you, well, why are you judging me based on, you know what I'm saying, preconceived notion? Even something when we say you, the generation of you, the first day we started saying you don't know any better, or you know what I'm saying, just little stuff that ends up adding up to be the desire for something to look like you, think like you, and things like that, which is so ironic because the whole point of you being an individual and having distinctive free will is so you can express who you are. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But we're so busy wanting everybody to conform.
Everybody wants to be a cookie cutter.
Want to be a cookie cutter because I think that you think it's more or less, if you think like I think, then that part of being right is what drives most of us to want you to think like I think, do like I do, and stuff like that. Because of course I'm right.
Yeah.
I know best and all that other stuff, and I might know best, but I know best for me. And with us putting that on somebody else to say that, okay, yours have to look like I look, we are seeing in our world today where all of that stuff is just not working anymore.
Yeah.
Right? Because people are literally expressing their individuality and saying, well, me expressing my individuality, what the hell does that have to do with you?
And that's what I'm telling you. You'll be amazed. It's so many forms of discrimination,
It
right?
is.
I've sat home this week and I've watched so many different documentaries. And just watching random documentaries and just looking like, yeah, man, that's pretty effed up. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's just like, why? Even in government, they make it so bad. It's like, what? So I gotta, because your beliefs, it's so bad. Like, I gotta discriminate against a whole plethora of people and things because of how you believe, and you sit in this chair that can determine things and make laws. I mean, look at what's going on in Florida. You know what I'm saying? All the stuff that's happening in Florida. They signing so many bills and a law that's so discriminatory. I'm like, what in the hell? You know what I'm saying?
And that's what happens when you give your power of expression to other people. I think at one point we decided on a quote unquote type of government in certain situations because you need some type of consensus on some stuff to get something done. If you're dealing with 1,000 people and everybody wants something 1,000 different ways, chances are you ain't really get anywhere, right? Because you're trying to do something 1,000 different ways. So you do have to start some type of a consensus. But I think the consensus went into, now I'm giving you the absolute power to make decisions that you think is right, that you think is more right for me than what I think.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I think, and then that's where the discrimination comes in at, because you get locked into a certain view of something or someone, and you don't allow for the fact that that may not necessarily look like you want it to look. And then you start to go from there and you're making decisions. And I think it's funny that you mentioned the government, because it's so ironic that they'll make laws, be the first ones to break those same laws, be in the background, you're not even following the law that you're holding me to. And when it benefits you, you'll change it. And I think one of the best examples of that was the discrimination about how they looked at marijuana. You know, and even after it started being proven that marijuana had a lot of medicinal properties and stuff like that, you had people fighting tooth and nail, well, no, because it's a drug, it's this, that, whatever. And I remember this one guy, I can't remember his name at the time, but he was literally fighting medicinal marijuana until his grandson
had to use it. His grandson had
epilepsy, a really degree of epilepsy, and once his daughter went out of the state that he was fighting it in, got some treatment, found out it was better. Oh, now, you know what I'm saying?
He wants to implement it into law.
You want to implement it, but you know, you're so busy looking outside of yourself to find yourself. I'm looking at you and I want you to look like me, even though G has his own tastes and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So I think our need to want to conform and to be the same sometimes really ends up working in reverse and making us discriminate against somebody that's not the same.
I mean, you can easily do it. It's so easy
Always.
to do. It's so easy to just, and not even realize you're doing it. You know what I'm saying?
And not even with ill will.
Well, not even with ill will. Like the whole, I think this was one of the states that had the whole abortion thing happening, right? You like, so I'm not a woman by far, and I'm sitting here like, so you're going to tell that woman if she has a cousin raped her and she gets pregnant, she can't abort the baby if she chooses to? Why not? You know what I'm saying? It was like that kind of thing, like, well, Why would you take that woman's right and discriminate against her for that? Because you feel like the Bible said.
Right. You're forcing your religious opinion on it, but you'll be the same one to tell me that, well, that's between you and God about different stuff that doesn't fit, into that that arena that you have narrowed down for the specific purpose of that. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think it's a slippery slope because, again, you're writing a law that you don't adhere to, and if it served you, you would write that law a whole different way. You know what I'm saying? If your daughter was in a situation, or your wife, or some female person in your family was in a certain situation, I don't doubt that you would make a decision that you thought was best for her. But now you're writing laws to dictate how I do things, and I get it in the sense where sometimes you think that you're protecting, you know what I'm saying, certain people and things of that nature, but it's a fine line on you're protecting that and protecting me at the same time. So
it's I don't know. It's just so many types of them.
It is, and when you're talking about though human interpretation of different stuff, because I mean, abortion is the hot topic right now, but before you had the same people writing laws against me and you, white and blacks using the same water fountain.
Ain't that crazy?
Something as simple as that.
Yeah, or the same bathroom.
Same bathroom. Or women versus men, right? You're writing women can't vote just because, like, what?
Of course, I just want to pull up the definition, and it just says discrimination is the unfair or prejudged treatment of people and groups based on characteristics such as race, gender, age, sexual orientation, etc. But the simple way to answer the question is, why does this happen and why is it more complicated? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think because human in general, want people to do things like I do it. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like what I do is right. And again, I don't necessarily have to have an ill will about it. I could actually be wanting you to do, quote unquote, the right thing because I love you so much.
Yeah.
Right? But it defies the whole point of you being an individual and having your own individual experience, which I think kids show us in a really, really good way, right? Where we're thinking, I know best, I'm gonna tell you this, you're a kid, you don't know this and this, that, whatever. But as a kid, I still know what feels good, right? What I kind of have an opinion about and stuff like that, regardless as to what age I am. And kids will sometimes get very defiant, even as toddlers, right? Where you're trying to tell me to do this and then I don't want to do that, right? Trying to get me to eat some vegetable because you say it's good for me, but my taste buds say I don't like it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? My taste bud, you're forcing me to do something based on your belief about it. I'm not going to say Brussels sprouts are not good for you, but I am going to say that I don't like them.
Yeah. Knowing you eat it when you eat cabbage.
Hey,
But I don't like it. Yeah,
right.
I get it. I get that. And I never understood that either. Like, when you see something different, why are you automatically going to complete prejudge and bias and discrimination? It's like, I was trying to give you I had an example in my head.
But the bias
I had
and
it
discrimination.
in my head. Yeah, it's just like, okay, just because you've never seen it before doesn't make it weird or like not normal. You know what I'm saying? It's what it is. What are you staying your mind what you got minded? You know what I'm saying? It's like I remember when Neo Soul first came out. Right.
Okay.
Your Ericas. Like when I first seen Erykah Badu, just at
face value
visual, I'm like, okay, this is different. Beautiful woman, Nubian queen. She's in Africa attire at that point. I'm like, okay, let's hear her out. You know what I'm saying? Before I go to judging. And I'm like, okay, this is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I didn't go into. I was about to. I'm like, no, what the hell? But then I was like, oh. Then they introduced her, Jill, and all them people introduced that new genre of music for us. It's like, oh, it's not the traditional R&B. we get a different vibe.
Expansion.
Yeah, you get more people that are more like natural. You know what I'm saying? These are like natural from the earth people. Like, oh, okay, this is dope.
And it's as simple as, if that's not your thing, okay,
just change the channel,
change
damn
the
it.
channel. But I mean, music is a really good one, because you look at hip hop.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? You look at rock. You look at the original R&B, blues, and the evolution of classical music versus, you know what I'm saying? But someone always wanting you again to like what I like.
Yeah.
Like, I want you to like classical music. Okay, well, your ear and your connection to it
may not be.
And I get what you're saying. Beethoven, great. I just don't like it.
Right.
It doesn't make it right, doesn't make it wrong. It just means I just don't like it. You know what I'm saying? But we're so busy trying to get consensus and conformity till we forget that even if you get consensus, it's still individuals making up that, which are still, I may have a consensus with you on this particular thing, but when it comes to something else, then I think something else about that.
And it's weird how people try to push it on you, like, no, you should give it a try. Yeah. Like, it's a concert that's coming up for an artist that shall remain nameless. Somebody I wouldn't pay for a ticket for, but I'm gonna go. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not going because somebody purchased that ticket for me. First of all,
you the ticket, okay?
Right now, I could resell it and get a hell of a lot of money for it, but I'm gonna go. And I want to experience it myself, but before this, it's like, you should do it. Why don't you? Oh, you disgusting because
you don't like
that song? No, I don't like the song. So I'm gonna go experience. Let me experience it for myself, and then I can
your
take
individual self.
Yeah, myself, because I only come with me. When I leave here, I was born with me. I'm gonna die with me. Let me experience it. You know what I'm saying?
The you that only you can be.
Yeah. So it's weird to me out when people like push it on you, like, oh, you're disgusting because you don't like this. Well, F you, because you're disgusting because you don't like this. You know what I'm saying? It's like, damn, can I be my own self?
Yeah.
If I don't like fried chicken, no offense to you, I ain't gonna eat no damn fried chicken.
And I'm gonna look at you crazy, right?
Right. If I don't eat macaroni and cheese, I don't eat. Like, I know people right now will say this. What have done this. I know a couple people that haven't seen quote unquote traditional black films before, right? Harlem Nights.
What?
New Jack City.
What?
Coming to America. I know people never see these movies. They're
The
like,
Last Dragon.
Oh, right.
Show no.
And they be like, give me your black card.
Right, let me get that.
Well, what you mean how my card getting revoked because I chose not to watch these movies? Is this really what? So you discriminate on me and I can't be black because I ain't seen Bruce Leroy in action?
Right, you don't know that by showing up.
Right, yeah.
Or look, when you're talking about John Amos or Mr. McDowell.
Okay, Cleo. Cleo McDowell.
Yeah. I mean, but again, it is because we look for a connection, right? And somewhere down the line, we mistook connecting with somebody meaning that they have to conform to us, right? Whereas, again, my connection with you could literally be some stuff is the same, but some stuff is going to be different. And it's supposed to be different because if it wasn't, then we would be the same.
Right.
And what would be the point if we're all the same?
I heard this 100 times. If we all look the same, birth the same, look the way, the world would be pretty boring. Well, we're not, and you're still discriminating and judging against people.
Of course. And I mean, it was funny. I think one time I was taking a class about something, and we were talking about how people take a look at things, and the person in the class was from Japan. And they were basically saying, for some crazy reason, we were talking about Santa Claus or whatever. And he was like, well, Santa Claus looked like me in my country. You know what I'm saying? You're drawing a picture and trying to get me to see it on your side. But when I, you know what I'm saying, take a look at it and download it on, well, he didn't use the word download at that time, but, you know, kind of display it on my end, it's going to look like what it looks like to me. So when I draw something, it's going to look like how I interpret it.
Exactly.
So, interesting humans and our
judgment, discrimination, bias.
Oh, all that good stuff.
All that stuff. I'm like, yeah, is this what it's about? I'll be really going into the deep end thinking about stuff like, okay, Lord, you made us all different, right? We have different beliefs. We have different things we've learned. Why people just can't just live it and just be like, okay, well, she may likes to wear sweaters and jeans in the summertime. Who am I to judge?
Yeah, or we look at somebody with an outfit on, you're like, why, man, she knows she shouldn't be wearing that. Well, who are you to tell them what they should be wearing?
Nah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of guilty.
Well, no, I ain't saying I wasn't guilty of it.
I'm guilty. I've done that.
Listen, not saying I'm not guilty of it. Probably gonna do it when I walk out of here. But
I'm totally guilty.
I've learned to have a quiet conversation with myself, something where I flip it to say, you know what, the type of courage it takes to wear what you want to wear regardless, right? And who knows if I'm the only one thinking it.
This is true.
And maybe they thinking the same thing about what you have on.
Right. Why does he always wear black?
So, you know.
Because it makes me look slimmer, okay? But any more,
Right. But still, though, you know, somebody like how somebody might tell you, gee, you should wear colors. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, I get that all the time.
Right. Okay, well, how about you wear colors?
Yeah.
And just so we know, black is a color.
Is.
Right? So that's my color of choice.
Color choice.
And I appreciate your input.
Thanks.
Now I'm going to make my decision based on
and do what I want to do.
What I want to do.
Period.
Because, you know, that shirt that you have on. Yeah, that color.
Yeah. It's okay.
But it's cool. It's cool when you're, and that's another thing that I teach my daughter, right? To kind of stay in who you are. And she told me one time, because I used to always try to remind her, like, okay, you know, I really like the way you express yourself and all that stuff like that. But then sometimes we'd be going certain places where I'm like, no, you're not wearing that.
Oh.
And she called me out one time. Gabby was probably about 6, maybe 7.
Yeah.
She said, you always tell me to be myself, and then when I be myself, you tell me don't do that.
Ain't that crazy? So she called your ass right back out on that.
I was like, okay. So what we agreed on was you can have your 50,000 colors, but we can't do wrinkle.
Yeah.
So that's my little thing now. Today she'll tell me, hey, I can be wrinkled if I want to now because. But again, I think even then, me controlling that was because I started looking at her as a reflection of me, right? Well, people gonna think that, you know, why that little girl got on all them 1,000 colors and all that other stuff. So, what did I do with you?
She wanted to wear them.
She wanted to wear them, even if I wanted her to wear them. Again, what does that have to do with you? You still get to choose what you put on.
Yeah.
And we or she chose what she has on.
Yeah.
So, you know, what does that have to do with your life?
And that's all about finding yourself too. Like when you're going through different phases of life. I know some women didn't cut their hair all the way off just for refresher. Like, why did she decide to go bald? Well, you have to see what's going on with her spiritual journey to ask her that question.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And what's wrong with her being bald?
Right, what's wrong with her being bald? Like, the hell?
Because then you're talking about why she got to wear all that hair down her back, all that weed down her back. Well,
that's what I'm saying. It's people are so invested in other people's lives.
That's true.
And they're not worried about what's going on in their own. Like, before you start casting these stones, man, come on, bro. Like, take care of your own house first.
Well, if we did that, then...
So I can turn around and ask you why you on them food stamps, though.
Or just...
Or anything, you know what I'm saying?
I can pick anything that is different from what I'm doing and ask you about it. And the question is, though, when I ask you about it, can you give me an answer that's good enough where I won't keep challenging you, trying to convince you on why you shouldn't do it? Or you should, based on what I interpret. Now, that's what I'm really learning, right? I'm learning, and one of the things that I said to a group of my friends in my circle is I practice very hard at, or consciously, understanding that you're making decisions based on how you interpret your life and all those other things, and whether or not I give you feedback, you know, information and things like that, it's just that. It's a side item.
Yeah.
To your entree. That's your entree. And then all I'm doing really is enhancing it, but loving you and respecting you enough to understand that how you decide to arrange that, it has to connect with you. I'm still on the outside looking in, and I may see some stuff, and it may be just as clear to me, but without me understanding your internal journey, I'm still just, an add-on type thing.
I'm an observer. I'm just
an observer. Yeah, I like that. I'm an observer. I like that.
People, Bernie Mac says the best. If people don't like who you are, F them. F them up against the wall with handcuffs on and crazy glue on their lips.
Because that's it. You end up being true to yourself anyway.
I'm telling you.
Right? You try for a while. You try for a while. Yeah. Right? You wear the mask.
Yeah. I mean, as we grow up, we're probably trying to fit in with the best group, or I want to be with the popular crowd. I want to be with the in kids. I want to do that, and I'll be accepted this way. But at some point, you'll be like, damn, all that?
Yeah.
That's too much energy.
It is. And sometimes you get in the group and like, I don't even like this.
Right. This is not what it looks good on the outside. Now that I'm in here, this ain't what I signed up for.
Yeah, all y'all crazy. Bye.
Yeah. All right, listen. 213-292-7694. 213-292-7694 is the number if you want to chime in on some of these good old topics. We've talked about regrets. We've talked about discrimination. We've talked about your upbringing and how does it affect your adulthood today. But last but not least.
Definitely not least.
But not least, we about to talk about trust. What is it? Is it earned? Is it given? Do you have to fight for it? What is trust, Tabby, in your opinion? And then we're going to read the real definition.
The actual version of it. Okay. The Webster's definition of it.
Whomever I pull up.
All right. So for me, I think it's a little bit of both. It's a earned and a given, right? Because depending on the level or the relationship I have with you, for example, my mother, right? I have faith and trust in her. Just on GP, just because she, was a person that was there from day one. So obviously I'm going to associate the fact that, okay, I open my eyes, here she is. Open my eyes, the next day she's still there. When I cry, apparently she responds. I get food, I get all this other stuff. So over the course of time, she has established and earned a type of credibility or a type of confidence that I feel like, okay, I can kind of rely on her. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, based on she did it yesterday, she fed me yesterday, she clothed me yesterday, and chances are she's going to do it again. So that is, what I've come to trust on it. But for me, as I've learned growing up in relationships, I think trust is more important than any other component of interacting with others and yourself, because that it instills a level of confidence that actually influences your movements within that relationship, whether it be a relationship with you, yourself, or be in a relationship with others, right? So a type of confidence I have in you is not the type of confidence where I put, everything on you, but based on the interactions that we've had, based on what you've shown me up until this point, I can have a certain level of confidence that, that's who you are, that's what you're going to do, and things like that. So for me, trust is, at the base of it, it is a reliance and a confidence in something that I can, again, rely on, and I can almost, as they say, take it to the bank. So that's the initial part. So I mean, and the reason I say earned is that it's a constant. It's not a, hey, I trust you today, and then you can't do something tomorrow that will alter it, because it is a ongoing something that you cultivate every day and through all interactions.
Absolutely.
What about you?
I don't take it too lightly. It's earned on my watch. No, you don't walk through the door with it. No, it's earned. Because people just have hidden motives, and I don't like it. It's just like, say for instance you're doing really well on your job, and you know you may have somebody. God, I haven't heard that chime in a while. That was somebody's text. Um, you in a position of power, maybe just position of pull because you've navigated and made reliable connections with people, right?
Okay.
And I know this and I see it. And I'm like, well, I know who can probably get me up there. I'm just going to finesse my way in here. Now, you have to decipher if you're going to trust me or not. You know what I'm saying? That you get me somewhere. And I throw you in the go. Well, let me tell you about this and what Tab do on the backside. You know what I'm saying? I just don't. People's motives nowadays are really like jacked up. And I don't trust folk like that.
Well, is it safe to say, though, that part of, as you've grown, you know, in life and had some experiences that you can look back on, and that's why you make the decision, that is it a fair statement to say, I trust you to be who you're going to be?
That's a good question. I shouldn't say that because I don't know how people are going to be. I don't know. I'm not with them.
Well, but when I say I trust you to be who you're going to be is based on what you've shown me.
Yeah.
I trust you to be that. What is it that they say? Once you show me who you are,
yeah,
I believe you.
Yeah. I guess you can say that.
Okay.
I mean, because it's like, oh, well, I see what you own. A liar, manipulator, whatever. It's just weird. Even in the last couple of years, I'm so an observant person. I just see how people move, and it's like, yeah, you might want to watch that person. Don't let them so close to you. Don't share personal things. Just keep them for what they are, face value. Like you said, I see how you're moving, and do you even want that kind of person around you? You know what I'm saying? If you're seeing, if you're visually seeing how they're moving and you're seeing how things happening, do you even want that person to be a part of your?
It depends on what kind of talents they're bringing to the table. Because, like, and I'm gonna be honest with you. For me, right, if it's a person where they're a skilled liar, and I know, okay, that ain't really like, if you look at me hard, I'll crack. Then, if I go into a scenario where I need somebody that can tell a story. Yeah, whether it may be 100% true or not, but they got a gift that they can kind of influence an outcome that I need. I'm big on using you for, again, who you are, right? Not necessarily who I want you to be. And I may handle you accordingly. Now, I may not, quote unquote, trust you with some personal information, right? But that's not the position I have you in my life. That's not your role in my life. I have somebody else that I trust for that. You know what I'm saying? I have trust for you to do this. I have trust for you to do that. Right. I trust that you're a liar. You're really good at it. And guess what?
King of it.
You're the king of it. And guess what? I want you to hold a master class because sometimes, again, when you're talking about lying, it could be if I sell you on a belief in something, right? Now, regardless as to what I'm selling you, everybody from kids on up is built with what I like to call a believometer. Basically, you tell me some stuff, and I either believe it or I don't.
Yeah.
I don't care who it is, what it is, right? And I remember distinctly one time, someone was telling me something, right? And they, they're going down the thing, they give me details and all this other stuff. And I literally replied back to them with that, you know what? You could be telling the truth, but I just don't believe you. Because my believometer was like, no, but that doesn't mean that it wasn't true.
Yeah.
Right? It was just based on, again, what I kind of knew about the person who was telling me.
Yeah.
Their motive for telling me, and things like that I use in my equation to have my believometer. Sometimes I'm looking at who you are on telling me, why you're telling me, what it is you're trying to get out of the situation, which is why you're telling me. And some just, again, my own biases and stuff like that I turn around, put into my believometer, and then I come out and say, oh, yeah, okay, I believe that. Or, no, I don't believe that. Yeah. Which, in either case, could be yes or no. I could believe you and you could be lying.
Yeah.
I could not believe you and you could be telling the truth.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm different. My trust levels are, ooh, they're bad, because it's like, I don't know if I can trust it, like, talk to you on a personal level if I needed to have, like if I didn't have a therapist, I just need somebody to kind of vent to real quick. I don't know if I can trust certain people. You know what I'm saying? Just based off of past actions and behaviors that I've observed.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, that's not nobody I'll pick up the phone and call first.
Right.
If I had a situation. If me and you were cool, and I say, well, hey, Tab, I need to tell you something, but it goes here. And I know in the past I've seen you go repeat other people's business. Why am I telling you my business? You know what I'm saying?
Or get mad at you if I did tell you,
right.
and then you did what you showed me that you do for others.
Right. So it's like my trust level is different, and I think it's because of the backstory, of course.
Trademark.
Yeah, it's just the backstory, like because I've seen so much as a child and growing up, and the lack of trust I have. It's hard for somebody to get in that space with me. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's like, as you know, I'm moving the silence type of an ordeal. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I don't need, because when people's like, let's say you just embarking on new journeys and things like that, people are very vindictive. And they don't want to see you doing any better than they're doing at the time. Like, well, if I'm not up there, you're not finna get this. So I'm gonna downplay your, why are you doing that? Well, why are you gonna do that? Because is it gonna work out for you? And it kind of destroys, like, you're a dream killer.
Well, and I'm gonna tell you something though, and I guess that's where, even at a young age, I kind of started to, again, understand. I wasn't calling it a believometer at the time, but I did start to kind of know that sometimes I really can't listen to you no matter what you're saying, no matter who you are, right? Because you're giving me a response based on how you are looking at my idea or whatever I'm bringing to the table, which is fine, and you can have the best intention. Yeah. But if everybody had listened to somebody outside of themselves that had a good intention, we probably wouldn't have half of the advancements that we have, half of the inventions that we have, because based on me bringing G an idea, G may not be able to vision it as far as I can, right? You can be like, okay, I see where you're going a little bit. But then when I started talking about a 10-ton piece of metal and stuff like that could be in the air and can hold people in the air and glide like birds and all the other stuff, like, okay, well, I can see going from point A to point B. You can see me when I talk about that part. But then when I start going point A to point B in a motorized vehicle outside of a horse and buggy, or you know what I'm saying, or somebody may not even believe in a horse and buggy. They so used to riding on feet, walking on feet. Like, what do you mean wheel? You know what I'm saying, before it was called a wheel or whatever like that. You always have people where, again, they can have good intentions, because most of us by nature, we go for safety. And doing something different is usually not always about safety, because it's unknown. It's risk taking and stuff like that. Yeah. So I think though that's the part of you though that you're really at that point, they're giving you the gift that sometimes you just gotta listen to you. And even no matter how it plays out, let's say you start on something and the person told you, well, hey G, I told you not to do that because I knew this and whatever. Well, no, what you knew was a set of fixed circumstances that you were involved in. You didn't know how things were going to play out for me. You're just looking at the end result on it. Now, even with it, quote unquote, looking like it didn't work out, the lessons that I learned, some of the relationships that I may have gained out of it and stuff like that will make me better with something else that I take on. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I was really good at, and still kind of good at, if you're, giving me feedback on some other stuff, I take what I can, but then I have to ask myself, am I listening to you or am I listening to me? Yeah. And I think that's where we, where we kind of fall short. That line of trust come in, that you're putting something off on somebody else, as opposed to what's supposed to start at home with you anyway. Yeah, but again, we too busy living in other folks' head. A lot of people, I don't know what that. I wish I can talk to somebody who studies the brain, because I don't know why people just feel so fascinated in inserting themselves in other people's aspects of life when it wasn't even warranted. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, yeah, I'm asking you for your opinion, your thoughts. Doesn't mean I'm looking for a confirmation of, you know what, Tabitha's right, I should not do this because it may not look good here. Say, for instance, the whole nightclub thing, right? You've been in that space. I come to you and say, hey, I'm thinking about opening a nightclub. I can honestly trust to know that you be like, okay,
Now, I've had one. Here's what it is. Now, I'm not telling you not to do it.
Right.
But this is what I ran across when I did it. And you can say, hey, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, you know what? I didn't even think of that.
Which is different than telling you what to do.
Than telling me what to do. Now, if I come to you and say, hey, I'm thinking about opening my club, you're like, hey, yeah, don't do that. That's not the move for you to make. You know what I'm saying? Because you got A, B, C, D, E. And I'm like, damn, that was discouraging. You didn't even give me a minute to be excited about it. My whole mood changed. Like, dang.
But was it your real dream if
Right.
it was so easily won?
Away,
People
yeah, right.
came and told you.
Is that what you really wanted to do?
Right. And they got it in your head.
Yeah, they got it in my head. But if I know I'm gung-ho, okay, thank you. I'm glad you feel that way. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm looking for a building.
Right.
I need a DJ.
Right.
I'm gonna follow it. And
That's
if I fail, I fail on my part.
And did I fail more or less than?
Or if it didn't work out, or
Right.
if it just wasn't the thing to
the
do.
timing
right
and some other stuff.
Or it wasn't in the market for this.
Right.
I could be like, okay, well, I know what to do and apply it to next time when I try to do it again.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Instead of hating on my dream.
Yeah. But because a lot of times people are bringing it in, like I said, I think a lot of times, even when we go to that crab in a barrel mentality, it's again because I want you to be safe. I'm looking for a type of safety. If at least if we're in the barrel, you know what I'm saying, we think we safe anyway, right?
Because we eat each other.
So either way I go, you know what I'm saying? It ain't like somebody can't reach down and pull you out and put you in the pot. You know what I'm saying? But I think as we look for safety, and it's something that parents do on kids a lot, which is why we try to impart our experience on their experience, right? Because I'm trying to keep you safe. I'm trying to, I don't want you to run out there in the street and stuff like that. But at the same time, part of you learning not to run out in the street is maybe for you to run out in the street and get, the horn blown at you and you get a lot afraid and all that type of other stuff. So that human experience that we all came here to do cannot be feathered by somebody else's experience, because that's why I'm me and you. Which is at the core of this whole thing.
Right. And I would trust if I had somebody who has been through something that I may be attempting to try, or I didn't know they'd been through it, and I go to them and say, this is what I want to do. You're like, oh, well, I've been down this avenue before. I can give you a few pointers, but I'm not deterring you from what you're doing. Do what you want to do, but I can tell you this is how it worked out for me. You didn't shut that person's dream down. You're just saying, hey, I can tell you it worked out for me. You can apply it if it works. If not, continue to do it. You know what I'm saying? It's the more so encouragement thing. And I just feel like us as black people, we have a group of people that do really, 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 really genuinely want to see people win. And then we have that group is like, they're up here. Let's say you already a CEO of a Fortune 500 company. You up there, you sitting there like, boom, I built this from scratch. This is mine. I built this or whatever. And I come to you and say, well, can I get some pointers or avenue and you look at me like, nah, I'm good. I can't get mad at you. You know what I'm saying? It's like I have to go and, okay, well, let me just do my own research and see if I can get there on my own. Because a lot of us don't want to see we don't like to pull each other up.
Well, that's a human thing, and I know why it's, for us, because again, from a black culture collectively, sometimes there's the perception that it's only so much for us, right? So we kind of come into it thinking that, okay, well, we don't have this unlimited supply of stuff. We only got this amount, whereas somebody else will feel like they have this amount. So yeah, they could share a little bit. But if it's only, let's say 25% of the pie that's allocated to all black people, if I give you some, then that's less for me. But again, that's a human thing which is why you have, especially in a capitalistic society and in a monarchy type of thing, you have same people at the top, right?
True.
Because if all people weren't like that, then first of all, why do you, like, I used to always wonder, like, who told you could be king? Like, because at some point it had to start somewhere, right? I understand generation later you were born into it, but at the very, very beginning of somebody deciding that, okay, I'm being in charge of you,
Mm-hmm.
And then other people perpetuate like, well, okay, well, why we didn't pass the crown around?
Right. Why?
Okay, you get to do it this time.
Right.
I get to do it that time, or whatever like that. That's because, again, as humans, we get to be territorial, and again, our confidence or our safety part and stuff ends up being, I want to hold on to it. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to pass the crown.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe we did start out passing it. Then somebody got it and was like,
Right.
I ain't gonna pass.
Yeah.
So you start hogging it, and then you convince some other people that you were the best person to hold on to it.
Yeah.
And then generations later, you have this whole thing that now revolves around you.
Right.
And then I gave up my desire to be an individual because I think that King G can make better decisions for Tab than Tab can.
Right. Which I cannot.
But guess what? If I let you make the decision,
Yeah.
guess who I can blame too when it
Me.
don't turn out right? You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So
me.
it's a little win-win for me too.
Yeah. Yeah. Really weird.
You know what I'm saying?
Really
So
weird.
it's a double-edged thing on it.
It's definitely a double-edged sword, and it can go so many ways with trust. The only thing I can do is say, be mindful of your gut. Trust yourself first before you go trusting other people. Put your trust in God first. Hold Shondo. Then you trust yourself. Then you can learn how to trust other people. It's been a wonderful show, y'all. Listen.
Really good.
Really good stuff. If you missed us, I'm so sorry, but I am recording the show so you can go back and listen, and I am filming it for YouTube. So we talked today, just to recap it, regrets, forms of discrimination, what is trust, and how do you think your upbringing affected you as an individual today? Do you utilize those practices? Good conversation.
Very good.
I loved it. So listen, if you're still at the house with me, I love you. If you're still in the car with me, I love you. If you're at the gym, I love you even more. Wherever you at listening to me tonight, I appreciate you. We appreciate you.
We do.
Tabby,
Thank
if they
you.
want, tell these folks about these apps and stuff we got here where they can find us.
Oh, because we have a lot going on. We
Right.
have ATL Talks, right? We have Cluster TV. We have all of these avenues that you can get great content on. You can get us at the Google Play Store with the ATL Talks. Of course, you can get us on iHeart, Google Play, and Apple. But just take a look at all of the plethora of things that Cluster Media in general is bringing to enhance your entertainment, your learning experience, and all of those things that Captain Daryl is definitely working on to make sure that he contributes to, you know, your daily grind, your daily songs, your daily song of your life, all that good stuff that we are diligently working on to make sure that you get good content and support and all that good stuff.
Yep, it's definitely out there. The man puts a lot of work in.
A lot.
He's celebrating 10 years in the media industry. So
Congratulations.
great job for Captain Daryl Davis. Yes, the strongest thing right now is you just make sure if you want to look at some of these visuals. Again, we have Tiny Desk concerts here, jazz concerts. We have Loans by Tam. She does loans for homes. She gives you the best advice on what to do if you want to buy a home. So you can get Loans by Tam. It's so many shows on this platform that I think it will hit somebody. So you don't have to do it just on Roku now. You can actually go to your phones and download the Cluster TV app. I did it yesterday. I'm on there. I seen my stuff. I seen other people's stuff. I actually think I was the first one to pop up. Yeah. But I seen a lot of content on there. It's on demand. Click it, watch it. And then when we go live, I can say, hey, we're on live. You want to see what's going on live right now? Go ahead and watch it. So that's a good thing. Congratulations to Captain Daryl Davis and the staff at Cluster Entertainment. Listen, if you want to watch this on the YouTube platform, again, I've loaded 6 episodes for you to go watch now. Like, subscribe, comment, turn on your notification bell because there's more to come. I'm adding some more stuff on there this week. And now that I'm caught up with the media stuff, y'all be able to watch us quite often. And we have some good shows. We have some serious shows. We have funny shows. It's good stuff for you to watch and listen to. And I hope you enjoy it. I've gotten so far positive feedback on the platform. So
yeah, good feedback. Good
yeah,
feedback.
I love
It's all about growth.
it's growth, and I'll take the negative too. If it's something you feel like I need to do, you tell me. I done had one or two people text me and say, "Hey, don't grease your lips on camera."
Ooh,
but I'm a
okay,
black
okay.
man, okay? I gotta make sure these soup coolers is juiced up.
Well, we'll need you to
You
find
feel
a better
me?
one that'll last 2 hours at least.
You know, and I appreciate it because, you know, even though I'm an actor and I've been in camera situations before, you know, it's live, you know what I'm saying? So when we film, I'm going to have to grease the soup coolers. But I do like LL and to get them.
That's right,
You
that's
know,
right,
get
that's
them,
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh my
So-
God, oh, LL, do that.
So yeah. So listen, it is a beautiful day. Make sure you get out and enjoy yourself today. Maybe step outside, maybe walk around the block, maybe just open the windows in the house, maybe even open the blinds, give yourself some natural light, some of this goodness that's coming out. All I ask you to do for me while you're doing it is a couple things. Please surround yourself with positive, like-minded individuals, for it is detrimental to your life and your mental health status. Make sure you protect your mental health and your energy. And tell what we want people to do. We want them to love themselves.
Love yourself. Charity starts at home, which means that the love that you want to express and put out there into the world need to start it at self-level first.
Self-level. Then you can expand it and give it
You
out
can
to people.
expand it then, baby. And then
Yes.
guess what? It expands and expands and it continues.
The chain will not be
It
broken.
will not be broken.
Yeah, so start with that self-love, baby. That's very vital. Until next time, Tab, when we coming back?
We will see you guys on Wednesday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yes, here on ATL Talks Radio. And make sure you are, in the words of the great Jerry Springer, take care of yourselves and each other. But I'm adding on, take care of yourself first. And we love you to the moon and back. Thank you so much for the support. And we'll see you on Wednesday.
Have a great weekend, guys.
You got it out.
I did.
Okay.
A little bit.
We love you. We'll see you on Wednesday.